Hey guys, I'm Market Tubes, documentary photographer, and you're watching Net TV.
But they're taking iconic photos, man.
I can send some to you.
You have them on your phone?
I think I have some on my phone.
Please, some of the most iconic.
I'm
just going to select. You have to have a folder for that.
Actually, because I have an exhibition next year called Women in African Music, so I've been putting some together.
That's Women in African Music.
Yeah, Women in African Music. So it's all about celebrating our women who have contributed one way or the other into African music. So you have like Agent Kijo, you have who had won 3 Grammy awards, you have Fato, you have like a lot of even some female singers that you don't even know, that a lot of people are not familiar with, have done really much. And you have our Yemi Alade, you have your Tiwa, you have your Salawa Benny. So those are you have your Owenka Owenu. So those are the women I'm putting together. So it's not just about images only. It's also about working with their artifacts. So I'm actually going to their wardrobes. Like some of the, I'll give Yemi an example. The dress she wore in Johnny. I'm getting that from her, so people can see the the dress, the behind the scene, a lot of behind the scene that happens, the makeup. They can see, they can have just not, because what is happening in African music is that it's not everybody that has that opportunity to go and see them perform, and sometimes that is not the only way you can connect with the fans. So for me, as a documentary photographer, I think there are more to do to connect with the fans, with the images, with their artifacts, with things that they wore before, with their shoes. Show them things that you don't really see in everyday day to day. And also is about also, because in Africa we don't document things. We don't keep history. If you in the Western world, you can see, look for Michael Jackson's what he wore like 20 years ago or 40 years ago. So he stood there. So that's what the women in African music is all about. Putting the artifacts together, let fans connect to the artists with what they have, to display.
What school did you go to?
I went to not Westminster, Middlesex.
When you were in Nigeria?
I went to Lola College. So finished and then stayed about 1 year with my dad in Maiduguri. So it was a bank manager in Maiduguri, UBA. So and my mom like, man, it's time to go back. You're a good boy. It's time to go back on your own. So I went back. Then I
went back to London without your parents?
Yeah, without my parents. So I stayed with my auntie, and I went to Acne College to study access to law, and then from there I went to Middlesex University to study law. But I studied law, finishing law, I was not happy. I've always wanted to be a lawyer from way back. However, finishing law, I was not happy. Something was just not right. I was sad, so I decided to go back to study information system management. The same thing happened again, and I think one way or the other, I found my way back into photography, and I think that was my calling from the beginning. But African parents, you need to be a lawyer, doctor, pharmacist, and everything. So I think I did those two for my parents. So I started taking pictures, and I had a very small, not really expensive camera, but a camera that can do the job. And started taking pictures for high profiles. Sometimes I would when there is movie premieres, I'm talking of top movie premieres. I will be there for about maybe movie premiere will be 7 o'clock. I will be there like 3 o'clock, 4 hours before the premieres itself, so I can be at the front of the barrier, and then I can shout, "Hey, Tom Cruise!" Then he can look at me and I take the pictures and I'll put it on Facebook. Then it was not photojournalism; it's just for me to, just put it on Facebook to say, "Oh, okay, I'm a photographer." And from there, things developed rapidly. Then even my client base was developing than my brains. Like people were like, come and do this. And if I back at those pictures, I'm like, what did these people see that I'm not seeing? That because I felt the pictures were just not up to standard.
But now so when did that transition happen for you, that you became the go-to guy for Nigerian artists performing in London?
It took a while. It took so because before me there were other photographers in London that a lot of people know on the mainstream. So a lot of people know them, but I decided to start to look at ways I could make people identify what I do, because I was struggling then. I have to speak to different people to help me get past. Sometimes I would call some dancers who are dancing for a particular event to be their photographer so that I can get onto the show and take pictures. But however, I decided to do things that no other person does. So what happened was there was an event, NEA Awards, in New York, and I know no photographers would go from London to New York. So I was also taking pictures for a magazine called Nigerian Watch, and they really want me on their newspaper, and I spoke to them. So I said, I really want to go to New York, but I don't have money. And they said, okay, we will give you £400. So I need £700 to get a ticket. So we'll give you £300. And I found a way to get the whole £700. So I bought the ticket. Then I spoke to my godfather. My godfather is DJ Abbas. And I said, DJ Abbas, I want to go to New York, but I don't have somewhere to stay. DJ Abbas is a good friend with Ayo Shonaya, who is another of my godfather. And Ayo Shonaya said, don't worry, you want to come to New York, don't worry, we'll provide. So he provided the hotel, my feeding, my everything, he did. So I was in New York, and it was an NEA award. So there was Olamide, there was Inyanya, Shontizu was coming up with Ole Kole. So there was the Inyanya was on at its top peak at that time. Then something happened. I don't know how. So I got to New York, and I think a lot of the photographers there do not understand the system. So I was now become the main guy. So taking pictures and everything. Then, and I think this is like was the breakthrough was I forgot his no, I can't forget. Something happened. What is it? Danny Crane's now decided to break in news that he has not seen his mom for 20 years or something like that. And Danny Crane was on the stage with his mom crying. Then I took the picture, and I think the whole thing just fed into Nigeria. Who has the picture? Danny Crane's mom, the story that. So I was the only one that had the picture. And Ayoshina said, Linda wants the picture, and from there the whole thing just like boom. Then everybody started to take notice. Who is this guy that is in London, is flying to to New York, making things happen? and I think I came back and everybody that just went crazy.
And then by the time you got back to London, you were charging £10,000 a
I wish Nigerians can pay very well, but they do. It's getting better now.
So, how does it work for you? You have relationships with the artists or show promoters in London that want you to be the official guy? Because it's almost a given now. Any show in London is Michael Tubes on it.
Yeah. So as I said, I cannot position myself to be the main guys. So I have like Shopper, like Jide, he took me like a brother. I love him. What he did, like that was, Shopper is like my brother. I remember a year when I was really depressed. I was really depressed. I was very unhappy. Things were not going the way I wanted it, and it was a Christmas day, and I was just in my house, and Shopper came. Shopper just called me. Hey, Michael, Jide is my Nigerian name. I said, Jide, what are you doing? I said, I'm just at home and I'm stressed out. And he came, picked me up. I think I spent Christmas in his house. We went out, we had fun, and the whole stress thing just like boom. So from there we built, like, a lot of people think that he's my blood brother because we, like, anything he's doing, he's dragging me along. And that is Shopper Lajide. He has been very good to me. Then I have Smith. Smith is
supposed to be the mayor of London.
Yeah, you call him, the promoter, the London promoter.
Right.
Smith has really contributed a lot. I cannot imagine how much he has lost into trying to pull programs together. I don't even want to imagine it. He has done a lot for I wouldn't say Afrobeat, I'll say African music. He has done a lot for African music. He has helped put African music on a big stage. Without his continuous hard work into African music, I don't think African music will. There are other people that have done their part, but I think there is Kokoba, there is Spade, but Spade, I work directly with Spade, and sometimes I can see what he goes through when putting shows in and out. He has really done well. I feel some of these guys should be given kudos, which they really deserve. They put a lot of effort into it. I can't just imagine how much Smith has lost, trying to put shows together. And I'll say, Smith, that show I didn't really make money. He's planning another show, so he has a genuine love for African music, and we should appreciate people like that. So I work closely with Smade in making sure that things are put right. So I kind of work with the main guys, and then they exactly know. They don't have to give me a brief. They know what they want. They know what the fans want, because content is the new crude oil, and without content, fans will not react to certain artists. And so we putting content continuously out, fans will be able to connect and say, you know what, I think we need to see the show. And the good thing we're doing right now in London is in terms of experience. So it's not just we're putting things, because if you look at these shows, concerts, it's all about customer service. And if you're not trying to put things out, content out, no one's going to buy the ticket. So we have to put it in such a way that this show, you can't miss it, and the experience we made it, because you're as good as your last show. So for us able to sell another show, we have to make sure that this show is 100%. The artist gives 100%. That helps us sell another show.
Right. So who is the biggest beneficiary now? Nigerian fans in London or Nigerian artists that made that move and have a healthy fan base in London?
I think the fans are benefiting in the sense that the artists are now taking it more seriously. So you don't have artists turning up a day before the show. So you have artists turning up 5 days, a week, or 2 weeks before. So there is a lot of things that the artists will do. Some artists will do meet and greet. Some artists will do pop-up shop where they will go and buy a dress or a shirt for £20 or £30. There is a kind of one-to-one close relationship with the artists and the fans, and the artists also, they get it their own share in terms of in UK things are they can enlarge their fan base in the UK or in Europe, so it's easier for them to also, when they do all these activities, it helps the artists also reach out to other fans that will not turn up to your show, because it's not everybody that has £40 to pay. But if you're doing meet and greet and your meet and greet is like £10, or you have a pop-up shop, they can turn up. Okay, let me buy maybe a phone case for £10, and they can meet with the fans, take pictures, and those fans will post on their social media, and it helps both ways.
So you've seen quite a lot, you have experience. I'm just going to throw out some names out, and then you tell us things that we don't necessarily know about them. Some of the greatest people that you share. So Davido.
Davido, we went. Forget about all these those hyper. You see, Davido is actually an hard-working artist. I won't see. You can see a lot of crowd behind Davido. I'm using these his concerts last year because I was his tour photographer. Every single person that goes out with Davido has a job to do. A lot of people don't know. You can just see them, they're all just having fun. But all the guys Davido brought to UK, they have a job. There's some that does the graphics, there's some that does the videos, there's some that make sure, okay, the dress is going to wear is being delivered. There's some that make sure that the graphics on the screen works right. So every single guys have a job to do, and Davido has a very lovely heart. He's a guy that I remember when we were on the tour bus and just say, Michael, pray for us. He's very down to it. Forget about all the things you see on social media. When it comes to work, Davido is an hard-working guy. He was performing back to back on shows in London, and if you say Davido, time is ready. He's very hardworking.
Tiwa Savage.
Ha! Tiwa, and I hope a lot of people can respect our female artists more, because they put a lot of hard work. Sometimes social media is good, okay, it's very good, but at the same time, what you see on social media is, or what someone will say something and we'll all believe it. Forget about that. You need to see these guys working. When Tiwa had a show in London, Tiwa was working back to back, in the sense that we will have dance rehearsal 7. Dance rehearsal finishes at 10 o'clock. From dance rehearsal, we will drive half an hour or 45 minutes to instrumental rehearsal, and she won't finish at 2 o'clock. She wake up 7 o'clock again, to go and have like maybe press interviews. She, at some point, I was scared like she would collapse because she was just putting hard work. You dancing, like, honestly, I know, I hope the men don't they will not kill me with this. I think our females put a lot of hard work than more than the guys. Before, the dancing routines, the energy she put on the dance routine. At some point, I'm like, I was even scared that I hope nothing happens on the day of the concert, because the energy and then she will go back. No, I think we need to give more kudos to our female artists. I'm serious. I think a lot of fans needs to see what our female artists put in to perform before the makeup. They put a lot of energy, they put a lot of planning. They don't just come on stage. Now Tiwa, actually, at some point I just said, Tiwa, can you please sit down, because she was in. And same rehearsal, we're talking about maybe 5 days before.
You shot this photo of she and her son. How
Yes.
did that make you feel?
Actually,
Can you tell us the story of
that story, honestly, when I see, even speaking to you now, I actually want to cry, because I've been with Tiwa that long, and then Jam Jam came on the stage, and Jam Jam was like, Mom, and Mom was doing sound check, Mom, I want you. And then Jam Jam was supposed to go to the grandmom, and Jam Jam was saying, no, I want to be with you, Mom. And then they just being together on the stage, and I can feel where Tiwa, her heart, the son on the stage. I felt the love, and I felt thinking how she has prepared for that show. Now I can feel the connection between a mother and a child, and that actually gave me a different perspective about her, about female artists, what actually they go through, even to put a show on. She's there trying to do sound check, and she has to attend to her son. And this is what, before people put negative comment on social media, they need to think twice. They need to think, okay, this can be my sister, this can be my mom. Forget about, we are all human beings. Before you put any negative comment about female artists on social media, think about your mom, your sister, what they might be going through. They are human beings. And a lot of people put a lot of comments there with no reason, no evidence. They just want to beef for beefing, for no
Okay.
no reason. Don't let me use the F word.
Wizkid.
Wizkid. Wiz boy. What can I say with Wizkid? Wizkid is a kind of genius that we need to. He's a kind of genius when it comes to music. He can just sit down and listen to his instrumentalists, and he will just tell you, that key is wrong. He's Wizkid. I'll just say he's a genius.
All right. Adekunle Gold.
Adekunle. Very, very creative. Very, very hardworking, very creative, very spontaneous. He knows what he wants, very focused, very determined. Even when things are not right, he's very determined to tell his story, and the way he wants you to accept his story, he's very phenomenal.
Right. Yemi Alade.
Ah, Mama Africa. Yemelade. I know a lot of people say I'm biased, but Yemi is. I think sometimes I feel Nigerians do not deserve Yemi. I think we we don't appreciate the quality of products this woman brings out.
Is that a result of our basic lyrics? That's a criticism. That our lyrics are like nursery rhymes. Nobody can question our vocal ability. Right? She has a great voice. She can sing. But I think the biggest criticism is because all of these lyrics that she sings in her song.
I don't think it's because of his basis lyrics, but you need to understand that why did they call her Mama Africa? She's not just trying to reach out to just Nigerians alone. She's trying to reach out to the whole Africa. She's someone that can go to Ghana, sell out a show in Ghana. She can go to Sierra Leone, do the same thing. She can go to Republic of Benin, do the same thing. She can go to Morocco, do the same thing. Now, if is that your strategy, your lyrics has to be something that a lot of people across the globe can understand. We're not even talking about that is Africa. We're talking about Haiti, Republic of Dominica. We're talking of so much places in Caribbean that she has gone to perform. Now the way Nigerians understand lyrics is not the way a Caribbean will understand the lyrics. So you have to make it in a certain way that every single person will understand. If she goes to Caribbean, they're singing her song back to back to her. So which means that they understand what she's singing. If you're going to make it a beat, okay, you want her to write it in a different way, those people might not understand. Some of these countries are non-speaking English countries. Some of them might have to interpret to French for them to understand. And when you make it, sometimes that's what I say before we criticize some of our artists, we need to understand, okay, what is their strategy? What is their plan? What are they looking out for? Yemi is an artist that can go to anywhere in the world and she will sell out shows, which means that she has to do things in a such a way that every different countries can understand the output, what she's putting out. She's very hardworking, dancing. She's one of our hardworking female artists that deserve more than what she's getting in Nigeria. I've been around there to Dominica, Haiti. Some of them can't even speak English, but they know the music. So we should look at sometimes when we Nigerians criticize our artists, we only look after ourselves. We are not looking, okay, how can we reach out? And if you have to make the music basics for other people to understand, I think let's do it.
Finally, Asha.
What do you That is another artist that I'm thinking Nigeria don't deserve. I don't know. I think we just don't deserve. Asha is another one. I think we like too many pangolo. Everything has to be no. Asha is she's in a different. When you listen to Asha, you would feel the music. You would, it's not your typical artist. You feel the music. You would, from the beats, from the guitar, from our backup singers, everything just worked perfectly. And the way she dances, the way she moves, she gives it that 1000% experience that you want to see Asha. I know I can photograph Asha 10 times on the same day, and you will get different shots of Asha. She's just a legend, and I feel that we Nigerians and Africa, we can give more kudos to female artists more, because what they're doing for, I think the female artists are doing more for African music than the male. I can count them. Ajenla Kijo, she has won 3 Grammy Awards. She was there yesterday in Paris singing at the remembrance, the military remembrance in Paris, where you have the president of France, American president, everybody's there. She's the one singing for Africa, So the females are doing more for the African music, and I think they deserve more kudos than what we're getting tonight.
Right. Who is the one artist you wish you could shoot on stage?
Fela.
Why is
that? As a documentary photographer, and from the stories, first-hand stories I've had from Seun Kuti and Femi and Auntie Yenny, the sister, I felt like there is something missing in my catalog, because sometimes when I shoot Seun, when I photograph Seun as if I'm photographing Fela, because that is the closest, or Femi, that is the closest I can get to Fela. Most of the things he said like 20 years ago is still happening in Nigeria or in Africa, and I felt like there should be, when I'm looking at some of his images, I'm trying to look for, okay, is there any Nigerian that's really photographed Femi? And it seems I can't find, apart from, I forgot his name, the guy that designed his album cover. And sometimes I go onto his social media to look at his work, and those are the closest person I can get. It's sometimes I felt like something is missing in my catalog, not photographing Fela.
Yeah, but then you have a very fantastic catalog by yourself. Give us 5 quick tips on how to be
how to be a documentary photographer or photographing Nigerian African music scene. You need to understand the genre. So you need to understand the genre. So it could be Afrobeat, it can be anything. You need to understand it. If you don't understand it, then it won't come out the way you want it. You need to understand your subject. So you need to understand if it's a male artist, because the way you photograph a male artist is different from the way you photograph the female artist. You need to understand those subjects. Number 3, you need to understand the event. What is the event all about? So I'll give an example. If you're photographing like Niniola, which I did a couple of days ago, that is our first show. There are few things that needs to come out of that show, because that is our first show. You need to sell the show to people that were not there. Just like, the show was fantastic. Actually, the show was fantastic. You need to understand the event, and you need to understand. So if it's Niniola show or Yemi Alade show, you need to understand Yemi Alade and what Yemi Alade fans want. So there is difference between photographing Yemi Alade and also understanding what the fans want. And also you need to understand what the general public, what they want. It's just not doing point and shoot. You need to understand that if, for example, if I'm photographing Yemi Alade, and if Yemi Alade is a 5-star artist, by the time you finish, your subject should be like 10-star. It should be adding more feathers. People should be saying, wow, that show was fantastic. So those are the few things you need to understand. It's different from you just doing point and shoot. You need to understand those different categories of things that happen during the show. And also lastly, you need to find they call it money shots. You need to look for the iconic shots. You need for, because a lot of people underestimate our scene. Our scene is just starting, and they underestimate it, and probably they don't put a lot of art to it. They just, okay, I've shot, let me just do my shoot and go. You need to understand it's more than that. You have to look for like iconic shots, like shot that is timeless, shot that is in 100 years time people will still be talking about it. You have to look for something that is unique to you. Even if there's 100 photographers there, there's something that is unique. So because for me, it's more than just photographing. I look for timeless images, timeless spots. I look for different angles where I could get like timeless images. So that is one of those are the aspects that you need to look at when you are taking a music concert.
In photographing various African artists, what would you say is your most memorable? And you have to give us that story.
Okay, Yemi Alade in Paris, where she'd go when to the crowd. It was not set up. It was actually happened spontaneous. Okay, I was in Paris I flew into Paris that day to photograph her with Shopola Jide, and for me, I wanted to always, that each gig I photograph, I always want to make a statement. I always wanted to make a move, and I was there. We were all day. We were she was in the green room playing games and everything. So when the show started, I actually went to the concert toilet, disabled toilet, and I locked myself in there, and I went on my knees and prayed to God. I said, God, I need something unique, and I need something unique from this show. And to be honest, photographing the show, I didn't get what I wanted. It was not coming. I didn't get that solid, and I know within me, when I get a shot, I know that's the show. So I did, and she was singing her last song, and I was like, God, please help. And she was on the stage, and so she was trying to tell the band to expand a song, and so she turned around, and I was on the stage, and she just went G, and the lights in the auditorium lit up a bit, and I just put my hand on the trigger, like took about 10 shots in 1 second, and she just G, and she was just feeling herself. The place was full, and I was and that is the show.